Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chapter 13, Bhagavad Gita as it is. Here Krishna is giving us so much knowledge in this chapter, speaking about the field of activities, that is this body, made up of the 24 elements. Then he says, inside the body, there is the knower of the field, that is the soul. And then next to the soul is the super soul, who's the knower of all the bodies. So there's a difference between the soul and the super soul. Then he gave us the items of knowledge. The most important was approaching a spiritual master, engaging in devotional service, and humility, cultivation of humility and cultivation of the other items. Okay, so let's continue. Text 16.
बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरम् एव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तद् अविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चन्तिके च तत् चन्तिके. Translation: The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and the non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of the material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. In Vedic literature, we understand that Narayana, the Supreme Person, is residing both outside and inside of every living entity. He is present in both the spiritual and material worlds. Although he is far, far away, still he is near to us. These are the statements of Vedic literature. Ashino Duram Vrajati Sai Shayano Yati Sarvata, Katha Upanishad 1.2.21. And because he is always engaged in transcendental bliss, we cannot understand how he is enjoying his full opulence. We cannot see or understand with these material senses. Therefore, in the Vedic language, it is said that to understand him, our material mind and senses cannot act. But one who has purified his mind and senses by practicing Krishna consciousness and devotional service can see him constantly. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita that the devotee who has developed love for the Supreme God can see him always without cessation. And it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 11.54 that he can be seen and understood only by devotional service. Bhaktaya tav ananya shakyaha.
What does Krishna say in this?
Krishna is saying, like he exists in everything, even moving and non-moving things also. But we cannot see him because we are not at that position yet. So we can see him once we are fully engaged in devotional service. Then we can 24 hours see him.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
So in the
When
material
our
world, how
senses,
is he present?
in the material world, he is present as Paramatma.
Yeah, that's right. He's inside every atom. Right? So he's inside, he's outside, because he's Paramatma also in the heart of the devotee. I mean, not only of the devotee, every living entity. He's in the spiritual world. So he's everywhere. Yeah, only by devotion. He can be seen and understood only by devotion. Because one may try to say, okay, I'm going to try to understand God by my own mind. I'm not going to hear about God from the authorities or from the scriptures, but I'm going to just imagine whatever my mind says. But then that's still going to be an imagination. It's not going to be the fact, right? Like I
Mm.
start imagining what you like, what you don't like, then it's just an imagination. It's not for a fact. But if I hear from you what you like, what you don't like, then it becomes a fact. Okay.
Mm. Okay, next. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam Bhuta Bhartar cha taj geyam Grasishnu Prabhavishnu cha. Although the Supersoul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. Purport. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. Does this mean that he has become divided? No, actually, he is one. The example is given of the sun. The sun at the meridian is situated in its place. But if one goes for 5,000 miles in all directions and asks, where is the sun? Everyone will say that it is shining on his head. In the Vedic literature, this example is given to show that although he is undivided, he is situated as if divided. Also, it is said in Vedic literature that one Vishnu is present everywhere by his omnipotence, just as the sun appears in many places to many persons. And the Supreme Lord, although the maintainer of every living entity, devours everything at the time of annihilation. This was confirmed in the 11th chapter when the Lord said that he had come to devour all the warriors assembled at Kurukshetra. He also mentioned that in the form of time he devours also. He is the annihilator, the killer of all. When there is creation, he develops all from their original state, and at the time of annihilation, he devours them. The Vedic hymns confirm the fact that he is the origin of all living entities and the rest of all. After creation, everything rests in his omnipotence, and after annihilation, everything again returns to rest in him. These are the confirmations of Vedic hymns. यतो वा इमानि भूतानि जयन्ते येन जतानि जीवन्ति यत् प्रयन्ते अभिशम विशन्ते तद् ब्रह्मा तद् विजिज्ञासस्व. Taittiriya Upanishad 3.1.
So Krishna, the super soul, he appears to be divided, but he's not divided. How do we understand that?
From the example of sun, like how sun is present everywhere, it seems to be divided, but actually it is not.
Yeah. So then, so how many Paramatmas are there?
One.
Yeah. Although he's in everyone's heart, everyone may think, oh, they are separate, different Paramatmas. No, Paramatma is one. Just as sun is above our head, and we don't say it's, Taiwan sun or China sun or India sun. Sun is the sun. So Paramatma is everywhere.
Yeah.
And maintainer of all and devours all. How do we understand that?
Like when there is annihilation and when there is manifestation, it is him who
Yeah,
creates everything and who destroys everything. His omnipotence,
that's right.
his potency. Yeah.
That's right. In Bhagavatam, the creation is explained about 2-3 times in the second and third canto.
Mm.
Uh, that how Mahavishnu, he's lying down on the causal ocean. From his breathing out come so many millions of universes. When he breathes in, everything goes back into his body. So creation happens when he's breathing out. It stays for some time. Then when he breathes in, all the destruction, everything goes back into his body. And then, of course,
Mm.
till the time, even though the creation is still there, then in the form of time, everything deteriorates. And it's there for some time. Although the annihilation has not happened, but something can stay only for a particular time. And time is Krishna.
Mm.
Time I am, he says. Kalosmi is the impersonal form of Krishna. In the material world, time has a deteriorating effect. Although time is eternal,
Mm.
In the spiritual world, it does not have this effect, but in the material world, it has this effect. Word works in a perverted way here. Time. We say manufacture date, expiry date, everything, right? Birth date, death date. So with time, everything finishes. This time is representation of Krishna. Do you have any comments, question?
No, nothing yet.
Okay.
ज्योतिषाम् अपि तज् ज्योतिस् तमसः परम् उच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्. Translation: He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge, He is the object of knowledge, and He is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. Purpose: The Supersoul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the source of light in all luminous objects like the sun, moon, and stars. In the Vedic literature, we find that in the spiritual kingdom there is no need of sun or moon, because the effulgence of the Supreme Lord is there. In the material world, that Brahma Jyoti, the Lord's spiritual effulgence, is covered by the Mahat Tattva, the material elements. Therefore, in this material world, we require the assistance of sun, moon, electricity, etc. for light. But in the spiritual world, there is no need of such things. It is clearly stated in the Vedic literature that because of his luminous effulgence, everything is illuminated. It is clear, therefore, that his situation is not in the material world. He is situated in the spiritual world, which is far, far away in the spiritual sky. That is also confirmed in the Vedic literature. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Sweta Shavtar Upanishad 3.8. He is just like the sun, eternally luminous, but he is far, far beyond the darkness of this material world. His knowledge is transcendental. The Vedic literature confirms that Brahman is concentrated transcendental knowledge. To one who is anxious to be transferred to that spiritual world, knowledge is given by the Supreme Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart. One Vedic mantra, Swat, Swat, Svetashvat Vatar Upanishad 6.18 says, Tamha Devam Atma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshur Vai Sharanam Aham Prapade. One must surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead if he at all wants liberation. As far as the goal of ultimate knowledge is concerned, it is also confirmed in Vedic literature. Tam eva viditvati mrityum eti. Only by knowing him can one surpass the boundary of birth and death. Shvetashvatar Upanishad 3.8. He is situated in everyone's heart as the supreme controller. The supreme has legs and hands distributed everywhere, and this cannot be said of the individual soul. Therefore, that there are two knowers of the field of activity, the individual soul and the super soul, must be admitted. One's hands, legs, and legs are distributed locally, but Krishna's hands and legs are distributed everywhere. This is confirmed in the Shvetashvatar Upanishad 3.17. Sarvasya Prabhum Ishanam Sarvasya Sharanam Brahat. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supersoul, is the Prabhu or Master of all living entities. Therefore, he is the ultimate shelter of all living entities. So, there is no denying the fact that the Supreme Supersoul and the individual soul are always different.
Okay, what do we understand here?
Like, he's the source of all luminous objects. He's knowledge, he's the goal of knowledge, and he's the object of knowledge. And he's situated in everyone's heart.
Yeah. Someone may think that that I am that super soul. Someone may think that I am that super soul, I'm God. But we can see in so many verses, Krishna is giving us the difference between the soul and super soul. So we can understand that, oh, I'm not the super soul, I'm soul, individual soul. But that Krishna is the super soul. The sun of this, the light of sun and moon is not coming from us. Although we may want it to be like that, we may like it to be like that, we may think that it is like that. But for a fact, it's not that. It's coming from the Brahman effulgence. The Brahman effulgence is coming from the body of Krishna. And he's the object of knowledge. Okay. He's also the object of knowledge. He's the goal of knowledge. All the Vedas are saying. Krishna himself is saying, Vedescha sarver aham eva vedya. All the Vedas I am to be known. So when one actually understands Vedas, one can understand Krishna. Because all the Vedas are telling us about Krishna, speaking about God. So he's the object of knowledge. He's the goal of knowledge. Goal, love God. Revive our loving relationship with God. Situated in everyone's heart. We are just situated in our own body. We are not situated in anyone else's body. Just in our body. So there's a difference, right? Soul and super soul. Then sun and moon, we need it here in this material world because this material world is actually very dark. We don't even understand how dark it is because we have like night lights and street lights, everywhere lights. But actually, if you go to a place where there's no light in the night, see, it's really dark. So we really need the sunlight and moonlight. Although this material world is also situated on the Brahman, and Brahman is the light which is coming from the body of Krishna, right? And then one portion of this Brahman, the material world is put there. The dark elements, Mahatattva is put there. Right? So in the spiritual world, there's no need of sunlight, moonlight, because it's self-effulgent,
What?
the spiritual world. But yet there is, the sun and moon are there for the sake of pastimes, to make things more interesting.
Okay. And what is Mahat Tattva here?
Tattva is like khichdi of all the ingredients. The devotees describe it as like that. All the ingredients are there in this Mahatattva. But they're not yet manifested
All material
separately.
ingredients.
Material. Yeah, the modes of nature is there. Everything is there inside. Then gradually one thing is going to be manifested from this Mahatattva. False ego, then will come the mind, the intelligence, then will come the sound. Gradually everything is created. And the sound ether is created, then air, fire, water, everything is going to come from here.
Okay.
Okay. So he's far, far away in the spiritual world, and yet he's everywhere. Far away in the spiritual world. Krishna, personally, he lives in the spiritual world. Does not live in the material world, but he's present here. He's present here as Paramatma. So, okay. Only by knowing
So
him
he's
one
also
can serve
present in
past.
non-living.
Huh? Huh?
Is he also present in non-living beings, like table,
In the
chair?
in every atom, yeah, he's there in every atom. That's how the atom can even have its shape. It's there everywhere. That's why the universe appears to be living. Although it's all dead matter, it appears to be living because the super soul is there. Our body is actually dead, but it appears to be living. Why? Because the soul is inside, the super soul is inside. So it appears to be living. Once the soul is out, then, we say it's a dead body, starts decomposing. Let's get rid of it. So the super soul is there in this universe. So super soul and individual soul always different. No point of time do they become one. Always different. Individual soul and super soul. Stop here.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.